The Muscoda Morel Mushroom Festival is coming up next weekend, and we continue some spotlights on Muscoda. Today on the morning show, Scott Oxner is here from English Prairie Distillery. He's been our guest before. And Scott, I know you're really gearing up for a big weekend next weekend, aren't you?
It should be exciting. There's a lot of stuff planned. So we've got some music at the distillery on Friday night and Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. We've got some different specials. We've got a new outside bar that we're putting together. We're going to have some special tasting events of some new products that we're trying out. So that'll be fun.
This is like the big event for a business in Muscoda, right?
Especially for a hospitality business, yeah, for sure.
So you're hoping a lot of people will stop by, maybe discover your business for the first time, right?
Yeah, last year we had our soft opening. A soft opening is probably the worst way to explain it. It was probably 600 people came in the first day we were ever open. We literally had 3 drinks with 3 bartenders making 1 drink each, and that was it. And we were, I don't say we were overwhelmed, but it was crazy. Yeah, especially for the first day and doing it on Mushroom Festival. That was something.
Afterwards, you probably thought maybe that wasn't a good idea.
Maybe halfway through.
Yeah, I guess it. But you know what to expect this year, right?
We found out what didn't work. That was for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what does work?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a year behind you. It's been a successful year, hasn't it?
Yeah. So far, so good. It's going really well. We're just kind of getting everything, going as far as the distilling. The tasting room is running. It's running well. We've got a great team of bartenders and back bar people and everything like that. My wife Sue is kind of heading that up, and her sister's one of the main people, Linda, that helps with it as well. So we've got a great team. Last night we just had open mic night with Mike Johnson from here in town. I don't know if you've met him or talked to him before, but yeah, he does an open mic night. So he comes, he'll play a little bit, but then we'll have other local artists that they just come up, they sign up, they play 2 or 3 songs or 4 or 5 songs or however many they have. So it's a lot of fun.
And you do that every Wednesday?
The first Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Discovering
really
some
good.
new talent, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your tasting room and the English Prairie Distillery, they have 2 different addresses, right?
Well, the distillery's next door to the tasting room. The tasting room was the old Avenue and Tailgaters bar, so we've revamped that, and we just left it as the bar, and we made that the tasting room. And then the next door building is where the distillery is. So the front part of the building is kind of a storage and bottling area. The back part of the building is new. That's where the distillery is. That's
where the old Black Hawk, is that right?
The Black Hawk is where our patio is.
Or the patio, okay.
Yeah, that's where our new building is, where we have the barrel house or the storage house back there. Yeah.
And that patio is really nice. You're starting to be able to utilize that now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there were a few people out there last night. We're painting our tables. They had a little issue with the stain coming off, but we're going to restain those and get those ready to go for next weekend. Hopefully for this weekend.
Right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be great for the next couple of weeks.
Take Mom out maybe this weekend, right?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm guessing all the time. Last time you talked about preparing different concoctions and different drinks. Is that kind of an ongoing process?
We always have special drinks based on the season and based on what's in season. We just had some basil, I'm trying to think if it was strawberry basil smashes, bourbon smashes. We'll start having lavender drinks. We'll start using mint and everything else. We just did mint juleps last weekend for the Kentucky Derby. So we've always got something. Probably once a month we kind of roll into a new menu with new things and try new stuff. That's one of the things when people come in, they'll have their drink that they like, and then they'll look and go, what haven't I had? And they always want something new. That's probably a big question when people come in. They're like, what's new? So there's always something new for them to try. And as far as the spirits, we're trying a few new things. We've got a hop shine, which is citra hops, like in beer, but we're putting it in with our version of a vodka, the day shine. We blend those 2 together, then redistill it. So it's got really a unique kind of a citrus orange flavor, but you can still smell the hops like you'd smell a little bit in beer. A honey hot whiskey, I might have talked about that one last time. We're still kind of perfecting that one, working on a coffee liqueur right now. I've got a new brandy that we're going to introduce here in the next couple of weeks. We'll probably have some next weekend to try. I was looking at making brandy. We don't exactly have the right equipment to really do a great job with brandy. I talked to some folks in Milwaukee at Central Standard Distilling and said, "What do you guys do for brandy?" And they said, "We tried to make brandy for, 5 years, and it was always awful. So we decided to talk to people that knew what they were doing as far as brandy goes, and they went to California to a company that makes brandy. So we're buying some of that, but then we're going to finish it in bourbon barrels. So I've got 2 bourbon barrels right now full of that brandy that's already sat in an oak barrel for 2 years. Now it's going to sit in our used bourbon barrels for, a month to 6 months.
That whole process, and we talked about it a little bit last time, it's like a big old science project, but how you figure out and what type of wood matters, it's really exciting when you kind of discover those new tastes, isn't it?
Yeah, oak's the wood that you use for almost everything. You can season some things or flavor some things with other woods, but the barrels are almost 100% made out of oak. American white oak is typically it. There are other woods that you can put different staves, those, the kind of panels. When you look at a barrel, it's got all those staves. Sometimes they'll add a few staves in of other different woods, but to put a barrel together with different woods, they're too porous. Oak's just got the right makeup and the right structure that doesn't allow the liquid to escape. So even though they leak a little once in a while, and so if I fight the leaks once in a while with my barrel, running around with my barrel wax out in the storage area, so yeah.
Barrel wax,
yeah. So if I walk out there and it smells a little too good, I know something's leaking, and I have to go find it and plug up the leak. So yeah.
That's entertaining, and I think that it's amazing that people's taste buds are so good that they can kind of taste where it's been, right?
I think so. They say they can. I don't know that I always can, but I think that's more like wine is definitely one of those things where they can tell where the grapes were made and all that. I think in the bourbon side or the whiskey side, I'm not sure that they can always tell. They might say they can tell. I'll believe it.
How long does the alcohol stay in the barrels? And does it matter, or does it vary, from drink to drink, or what are you looking at?
It'll definitely vary. So if you have a whiskey or a bourbon or a brandy, it could be anywhere from a month to 10, 15 years. Scotches, if you go to Scotland, I mean, they've got that Scotch in barrels for easily 8 or 10 years to start off with. But it's a lot cooler weather and it stays the same temperature all the time, so it just sits there. There's not a lot of interaction with the wood, so you really want a lot of temperature variation where it gets hot, it gets cold, and the liquid's going in and out of the wood a lot. That's why you can have, in the United States, you can have bourbon that's ready in 3 or 4 years because there's a lot of temperature variation.
What's the oldest barrel of alcohol that you have at English Prairie right now?
Right now, we bought some barrels from a company that had some extra. And it's probably, I think the rye that we're going to open up here is a little over 6 years old. And our bourbon that we've been distilling with a partner that we started distilling a little over 4 years ago is about 4 years and 3 months old now. So I'm going to start getting some of that out of the barrels. We're working on some new bottling, so it's been a little slow to get the bottles approved, but you get the labeling approved by the government. So that sometimes takes a little bit of time. Right now, we're just in the design art phase of it. So, but that'll be this summer, fairly soon.
Yeah, there are different forms that you have to fill out, different things you have to have. And do you have to have like a food license as well?
We have a food processing license. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a lot of forms to fill out. They really want to make sure that everything that's on the label says what it is. So we've got our Day Shine, which is like a clear spirit, not aged. That says grain neutral spirits. We have another product that we make out of it. We've a Sugar Shack Shine that has maple syrup in it. As soon as you put the maple syrup in it, then it says flavored vodka. It was grain neutral spirits, which was fine to call it that, but as soon as you put the maple syrup in, then you have to call it flavored vodka. So they've got a lot of rules, and you tend not to argue with them about the rules and why they do stuff. Just please give me my label. I don't want to argue.
But it's natural flavoring too, as well, correct?
Yeah, that's what we try to do. I mean, if you're a really large distiller, they're using, I don't want to say chemicals, but they're still using natural. It'll say natural flavorings. They're not always that natural. They're on Earth, so it's natural, I guess. They're not coming from another planet. So, but yeah, we're trying to use natural things. The honey hot whiskey's got honey, local honey in it. And you do have to shake it up because some of the stuff settles down, the solids that are in the honey. So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I know you've had some recent events at English Prairie Distillery. You hosted an author, not too long ago.
Right, yeah.
And how did that go?
It went really well, yeah. We did it on a Sunday afternoon. It was a book called The Wisconsin Way, W-H-E-Y. It was local craft or custom cheese manufacturers in the Driftless area, so it was an interesting event. Yeah, so they brought a few pieces of cheese in, and we sold some books and some T-shirts, and yeah, it was a nice little event.
I know that we're going to have Kristen Mitchell of Little Creek Press on with us a little bit later on this year. But they've got a lot of books on their list, don't they?
Yeah. They got a nice little operation down there. I think they just moved into new space, possibly, too. I thought I saw something pop up recently.
I think you're right, in Mineral Point.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate hosting some more events like that?
If we can, yeah. That'd be fun. We're gonna look at a lot of different things. I'm not even sure what they all are at this point. But, we did a painting event where we had somebody came in and, there was a group that came in, they painted together. And then, of course, there might be a drink or two involved from time to time. There's a lot of little events like that. We can do drink-making events, maybe food pairing events, that kind of thing. We've had people rent the facility out for showers or business meetings, things like that.
Well, you have a really eye-catching facility there. I think you've done a nice job.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. Looks good inside and outside. And maybe people will be discovering it for the first time during the Muscoda Morel Mushroom Festival.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I know they gave you a list of events for next weekend.
I've got the whole list.
Where do you start?
We start on Friday.
Okay.
That's the first day. So on Friday, there is a car show, a cruise-in. It's at the bus barn. So if you come into Muscoda, it's right after the high school and the baseball diamond. There's the bus barn there. It starts at 5 o'clock. It says 4 o'clock, but it's really 5 o'clock. If you get there before 5 o'clock, you may or may not be run over by an actual bus as they come back from dropping off kids from school. Then there's also a tractor pull that night, which is on, West Nebraska Street. I forget which street that is. But last year was the first time they did it. I think they thought it was going to be popular, and it turned out that there was a minor beer emergency on Saturday because the people that came to the tractor pull drank all the beer. So there was a lot of people there. The weather's nice. I think we're going to expect to see a lot of people there again. It was a crazy event, a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you do have good weather, which I think the extended forecast looks pretty good. Of course, it's kind of a flip of the coin at this point, but that makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, the nice thing, too, is there's a company called Thunder Showers in Boscobel. They do a lot of rentals. So on Friday, Saturday, I don't know if they do it on Sunday, but Friday and Saturdays, they have like a shuttle service. They'll take you home. So if you had one too many Busch Lattes, you can always maybe get a ride home. You don't have to worry about driving. So,
yeah, and Carla said even they'll give you a ride up and downtown if you want to go. Because it's a great walking distance between some of those events.
Yeah, definitely. And they've got the events up at the mounds at Franks Hill, and there's different little presentations and lectures that they're doing throughout the weekend. So that's and those kind of are all over the place. So that's a nice service that they provide. What was else I'm going to mention here? Oh, on Saturday, there's a lot of stuff. There's a beer tasting. They've got the fried mushrooms at the Village Hall. There's also at the after the parade, they've got the Native American hoop dancers. I don't know if you remember them. They were there a couple of years ago. So they come in and they do a whole series of traditional dancing. It's a really fun event. They do it right in front of the Cradwell building, right after the parade. Everybody kind of gathers around, and then they have probably a half an hour to 45-minute kind of presentation that they do. It's really cool. They're in the full
regalia.
Yep, you got it. Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because not only it's an educational day too for people that may not know about the background of the area and its residents.
Yeah. Mark Cupp, you've probably talked to him a bunch of times. He's got a couple different presentations on just kind of the history of what's going on or what has happened in Muscoda. How did we get to where we're at now? The name, English Prairie, kind of that whole history of English Prairie to Muscoda, the name Muscoda. yeah, so that's always interesting. I don't know if anybody talked to you about the history walk or the history mile in Muscoda. Did you see anything about that?
We've talked in the past about it.
Yeah, so that's all that signage is up now. So I'm sure there's going to be some people going back and forth between the river to the fireman's park, not the fireman's park, the railroad park. So there's a lot of really cool history there as well. And then the railroad park's got 80 different vendors there selling all sorts of different stuff, from food to art and everything in between.
That's a record number of vendors too, I believe.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of an overflow section. So yeah, everybody's expecting good weather. I don't know. I hope they know what they know. It'll be nice if we have some really good weather.
Absolutely, and people are finding a few mushrooms, but from what I hear, you're guaranteed to be able to buy some at the event.
This year, my wife went on 2 walks with our dog this week and found morel mushrooms in Muscoda next to the sidewalk. So there are mushrooms coming up, and she brought them home, and I fried them up. 2 tiny little mushrooms one night. And then I fried 1 mushroom up by itself.
Enough to taste them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a guy that came by. He found like 5 or 6 pounds of mushrooms last night. So I think they're out now. So we've got a company we work with out of Potosi. So we'll definitely have mushrooms available.
Well, Scott, if they're coming up by a sidewalk in a sandy area where they're not supposed to be, they're going to be coming up where they're supposed to be.
I would think so. Yeah. Well, I got to make sure I mention something, because I'll be in big trouble if I don't. But the ladies at the village office, Carla, Michelle, Amy, and Cinda, for probably the last 3 months, have been working like maniacs on this. There's always something going on. There's a ton of coordination. They are, nonstop. The glassware, the clothing, setting every single one of these sites up and events is kind of what they do, and along with their other jobs. So they've got their hands full, and they do a great job. Otherwise, I don't know that there would be a mushroom festival.
You talk about community events, and there are many of them. This is kind of one of the first big ones in our area as the weather hits. But I can't think of a community event that has more stuff packed into a day or two.
That is true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, when I was much younger, firemen's picnics were always the big thing. I think there still are firemen's picnics, but they're not. Everybody had a fireman's picnic, and you'd go to everybody's fireman's. Now there's a few fireman picnic, here and there, and it's a little more subdued. But that used to be the big thing in every town, at least where I grew up.
Yeah, certainly. Hear about them once in a while yet, but not as much. So anything else you wanted to add about the schedule, Scott?
Oh, man, there's so much stuff. You can go on the Morel Mushroom Facebook page. It's got all the schedules on there. I know there's a softball tournament. There's the high school's got a baseball invitational going on. There's beer tasting at Sportsman's that I'm involved with. That's going to be from 11 to 3, I think. And then there's also a beanbag tournament there. There's a chili cook-off. I'm forgetting, I could read down the list if you want me to. But there's a lot of stuff. But go to the Facebook Morel Mushroom Festival page. Everything's there. They've also got live hits that they're doing with different people, where they're going to different places in town, talking to them, a lot of the sponsors, and just, talking about the events and things like that. So
it sounds like all the businesses are working together as well.
Yeah. Yep. This is the one time of the year they all work together.
And you kind of coordinate music and everything too, don't you? In terms of, I know, because some
of the timing, we make sure. So on like Friday night we've got music from 5:30 to 8:30. Jesse Bauman, if you know who he is, he's kind of a local guy. Bryce Bird is playing on Saturday from I think it's noon to 2:30. The parade starts at 3, and then we've got music starting again at 3:30 to 7:30, and then at Sportsman's, there's music. There's music at Copper Lounge. I think Bryce Bird actually goes from our place before the parade to the Copper Lounge after the parade. And there's also music at the Village Hall. Who was the name of it? I think it's Three Souls is what I thought I saw earlier. So they're going to be right at the Village Hall, where they've got their tasting event, and the Legion burgers and all that kind of stuff, and the fried mushrooms. So, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff, and a lot of music. Bryce is going to be, he's kind of hot in demand there that day then. So
yeah, well, he can see all his students that he tormented while he ran the high school. they can all come and watch.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I think so. It's got to be true, right?
Right. He's retired into music now.
Yeah.
So
he didn't know he was torturing them at the time. They just knew it. He thought everything was going great.
Well, the parade is always a good time as well. That's going to be stepping off at 3 on Saturday. Everybody loves a parade, don't they?
Yeah. Kids love it because they get a bunch of candy thrown at them. So it's I don't know if everybody loves it when they have to come sweep up the rest of it that got smashed and walked on, but that's a whole nother story. At least there's no elephants at the end.
No. Keep them sugared up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have the steak feed that afternoon as well.
That's happening. Yep, they'll have that. I think that starts at 4:00, and then that just goes until they're out. So that's if they do. I know the firemen do. They do a chicken feed, and that. I mean, usually they're out of chicken in an hour, and that's kind of more of a drive-up event. The steak feed is they'll have tables there set up and everything else. So I think that at least lasts a couple hours.
And it caps off Saturday with fireworks. How exciting is that?
Fireworks on Saturday night. It's always fun. This year should be good. Another good year as far as being able to see them. I know was it 2 years ago it rained. But yeah, as long as the weather's good, that's always a fun end to the night.
And there are a few things going on Sunday as well. Cowboy Church, I believe, and a couple of other things. Baseball, in fact, we'll be there on Sunday with the baseball team.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Muscoda Mudcats are playing on Sunday.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Good. So that's a full weekend of stuff, and again, that is next weekend. But lots of businesses have come together, as you mentioned. You couldn't do it without the sponsors, could you?
No, they help quite a bit. They're involved with a lot of the activities as well. Not just it's a financial donation, but then they're involved in the activities, and whether it's just volunteering or helping out with an event space. I mean, every one of the activities that's going on is all run by volunteers or the company that's sponsoring it. So without that, it probably wouldn't happen.
What about English Prairie Distillery? What are some goals for the future? Some things you're looking forward to this year, Scott?
We're going to get into doing some distribution. So they changed some laws in the last year where you can do self-distribution up to a certain point if you're at a manufacturing level, which is a fairly large. I can't remember exactly how many barrels it is per year, but it's way more than what we do. So we'll start looking at some self-distribution with just local places, and hopefully we can find 8, 9, 10 of those kind of companies to be able to sell some of our product at. We won't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because the last thing you want to do is have something there and then run out of it. But we'll get into that and see how that goes. And then I think that's probably our next biggest move, and just get those labels done and get the improved artwork, and we'll be ready to go.
I was going to ask you about the artwork and the branding. Have you got that all figured out?
Kind of, yeah. So we work with somebody that does the labels for us. We're gonna do a combination of printing on the bottle and then a paper label, kind of a combo. And they helped us come up with that. So we went to a new glass, which. This is very exciting insider talk for people about glass. So we had a bottle that we've been using, but we're going to a different bottle. And while we're going to that bottle, we're going to just change the artwork up so that the screen print on the glass will end up looking like an etching. So it'll have the name of the company, and it'll have like our EP logo on it, and then we'll have a kind of a band label that goes around the bottom that says what the product is.
That's exciting.
So yeah, it'll be fun.
And you're going to continue to have music from time to time?
We'll have music as much as we can. We're scheduled out. If you go on our Facebook page, the music is scheduled out through probably October, I'd say. Yeah, this weekend on Saturday night we have Abby Lane. She's from I think she lives in Boscobel. She works at Chaise on Smoke. If you've had those folks up here, so she's going to be here Saturday night.
Good. We'll look forward to that as well.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, and looking down the road here too, I'm guessing as the weather is nicer, you're getting more and more people stopping by. You probably get a lot of business from out of town, don't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that just are driving through the area. They're camping. They've got a cabin. They're renting a cabin. They're kayaking, and they just. they just happen by, or they stop and look, and they just go around the block and come back and go, what's happening here? They ask a lot of questions like, why are you in Muscoda and everything else, and you have to go through the explanation we did last time I was here. But the nice thing is they'll stop in by us. They'll go across the street and have something to eat, or maybe they'll walk down and take a look around at something they wouldn't have looked at before. So it's nice to have that. Our place is eye-catching, especially when we've got the shade sail out and people are out on the patio. It pulls people in. So it's nice. And yeah, we do get a lot of people from Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, the Twin Cities, all over the place.
Do you have non-alcoholic drinks?
We do. Yeah, we've got a bunch. Most of our drinks you can have a non-alcoholic version. We've got a non-alcoholic old-fashioned, the Nani Scani. So that's one. Everything else you just will add either a little more water or lemonade or something else to kind of balance it out. So there's a number. Any one of those you can get.
Truly something for everyone.
I think there is.
And where do you come up with the names too? Is it those like light bulbs when you wake up in the morning, or?
Yeah, some of the names they just kind of pop in. We try to keep some of the names a little more like a local reference if we can, or it just makes sense, or maybe the name was something we already saw. Like I said, my wife and sister-in-law Linda, they do a lot of that. Once in a while I'll come up with a name that I like, and then I'll just argue until I get my way. Or I give up and then they just have their way. So it really depends. But yeah, we try and keep it a little bit fun and just put a little twist on it that's sort of local if we can.
I've been told that you have a big morel mushroom costume. Is that correct?
I'm wearing it right now.
Oh yeah, okay.
I can't believe you didn't say anything.
It's the first I noticed this.
I had to bend over when I walked in. I'm 6'3" normally, but with the costume on, I'm like 6'8". So I look like a giant morel mushroom right now. I can't believe I didn't mention it before this.
I just thought it was your wrinkles. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I look like an 85-year-old retiree in Florida.
There you go. Well, we hope people continue to find mushrooms. We love those mushroom stories, and I think, as mentioned, they're going to be. You've got a company that's going to have mushrooms; they're guaranteed. But it's nice when you kind of hit your mushroom festival and they're still out there and prevalent, right?
Right. Hopefully this year it seems like they're just popping out at the right time. It always depends. If the weather's warm 3 weeks ago, they're out and gone. If it stays cool through the mushroom festival, they could pop out like on Memorial Day. So this year seems like at least there will be some local mushrooms that people can sell. I think they sell a lot of them on Facebook. Like I said, the people will just maybe have a sign up somewhere and just sell mushrooms in town, or they'll walk around with a bag and go, "You want to buy some mushrooms?" So.
Do you have a mushroom-themed drink or anything named after the morel mushroom? Or is that still to come?
That's a good question. I don't think we do. I don't think we have a mushroom drink. I don't know. I'm trying to think what a mushroom drink would taste like. It might be.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, I know.
Might have to come up with something very quickly.
Think about it,
Phil.
Yeah.
You just.
I gave you something else to do.
Give my wife something to do now. Sue, Phil wants a mushroom drink.
Meister Cheese has a morel.
Yeah,
flavored
morel leek cheese. Yeah.
Cheese. So exactly. So that's your next project, I guess, Scott. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me work to do.
Scott Oxner, our guest on our morning show get together today, and talking about the Muscoda Morel Mushroom Festival coming up next weekend. Good luck with that, my friend.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks.
More coming up on the morning show.